I let my mother-in-law embarrass herself in front of the entire family without lifting a finger. My mother-in-law has always been one of those people who thinks her opinions are just facts everyone else hasn't caught up to yet. She talks over people, finishes their sentences, and has this habit of sighing dramatically whenever someone does something differently than she would. She's always commenting on how we live, how often we travel, how we spend our money, how we plan things. If I mention an idea, she immediately explains why it won't work. If my husband agrees with me, she pretends not to hear it and repeats herself louder. A few weeks ago, she started telling extended family that we were making some big changes. Nothing specific, just vague comments about how we were reevaluating things and figuring out what was realistic for us. People kept asking if we were okay and I had no idea what they were talking about. The final straw came when a relative called to offer sympathy because she'd been told we were struggling financially and might need help. That was news to me. When I confronted my mother-in-law about it, she brushed it off and said she was just preparing people in case we needed support. I was livid, like seeing stars angry. But instead of arguing, I decided to stop correcting her. See, my mother-in-law loves being a messenger. She loves having information before everyone else. Whenever she made assumptions, I didn't push back, I nodded. When she exaggerated, I let it sit. When she hinted at problems that didn't exist, I didn't rush to explain. I figured if she wanted to tell a story, she could tell it all the way. The next family gathering rolled around a couple weeks later. Almost immediately, people started asking questions. My husband's grandmother asked if we were moving, his sister asked if we were changing jobs, my father-in-law asked if everything was settled now. My mother-in-law tried to keep up, but the stories didn't match. She contradicted herself more than once. Finally, during dinner, she announced that she'd been keeping everyone informed because we'd been overwhelmed and unsure how to explain things ourselves. That's when I calmly said, none of that is true. I explained, very simply, that we weren't moving, changing jobs, or struggling. That no big changes were happening. And that the only reason people thought otherwise was because she'd been speculating out loud and presenting it as fact. The table went quiet. Then my father-in-law asked her where she'd gotten that information. She didn't have an answer. My brother-in-law laughed awkwardly and my sister-in-law said they'd been confused for weeks. Even my husband admitted he'd been getting strange questions he couldn't explain. My mother-in-law got defensive and said she was just talking. Since then, she's been a lot quieter about our lives. Funny how that happens.